Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Telescope Podcast. Thank you for listening.
What's up, everybody? Everyone in this place, if you could do a handstand, I want to see your feet up in the air right now. Wave them around, that's right. Woo!
Hello, welcome to the Telescope Podcast, the show where we look at geek culture through the spyglass of faith. Matthew Seifel Anderson here, your guide on this ship of nerdiness, aiming the telescope today at Avengers Infinity War, because that's the big happening, it's the big to-do this weekend. You've probably got your tickets. I've got my tickets to go see it Friday night. And I just wanted to do this show as a quick overview of the Infinity Stones, these mystical, powerful gems that are bright and sparkly and apparently highly sought after by a certain big bad named Thanos. Now, Thanos will basically be a god if he collects all these stones, and in thinking about that, I came up with a comparison list of how each of these stones can be compared to an attribute of God. So we'll look at that after I go through the stones. Now, let's jump into the Infinity Stones. The first one is the Power Stone. The Power Stone appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1. They rescued the stone, and they turned it over to the Nova Corps. The Nova Corps is on the planet Xandar, and they are protecting the stone, though I have a feeling their protection will be inadequate. I must say, before proceeding, that the name Xandar is an amazing sci-fi name for a planet. Just Xandar, Xandar. So cool, almost as cool as a rubber costume monster on the original Star Trek. Almost. It's right up there. Okay, the next stone is the Reality Stone. Gives the wielder the power over reality, whatever that means. It is being held by a guy named the Collector, who has basically a humongous, super secure, cosmic antique shop where he has all kinds of stuff, everything from different alien species to rare, powerful artifacts. So he has the Reality Stone. It was deposited there at the end of Thor 2. You may or may not have seen Thor 2. It was not amazing. Okay, let's move on. The Space Stone. This one is owned by Loki. The Space Stone is very familiar. It was inside the Tesseract, which we saw in Captain America. We also saw it in the Avengers movie. It was owned by Hydra. It was owned by Loki. It's been passed around. And at the end of Thor Ragnarok, Thor 3, Loki snags it from the vault of Odin's treasures, and he has it. All right. So the next one is the Time Stone, owned by Doctor Strange at the New York Sanctum. The Time Stone obviously gives you power over time. Oh, I didn't go over the Space Stone. Back up. The Space Stone lets you teleport anywhere you want in the universe. Okay, back to the Time Stone. The Time Stone gives you power over time. I guess that's enough said. Doctor Strange used it to create a time loop. He went back in time and died a bunch of times and kept coming back because he had created this crazy time loop. He was able to make an apple rot and come back. So, power over time. Okay, the Mind Stone is owned by the Vision. It's in the Vision's forehead. It helped to create the Vision and give him life. So, if it is taken from him, it may be the cause of his death. We shall see. And the final one is the Soul Stone. And this one is a bit mysterious. Some people think it's in Wakanda, but we don't really know much about this one. So there's one stone that's yet to be unveiled to us. So really looking forward to seeing what happens in this film. They've been building up to it for a long time, and Thanos will have godlike powers and the ability to kill half the people in the universe, which is his goal, to impress the goddess Death. Well, like I said, this made me think about characteristics of God. Specifically, it reminded me of a book by A.W. Tozer called Knowledge of the Holy. In that book, each chapter is dedicated to an attribute of God. And so I was thinking about the stones, right? So the Power Stone reminds me that God is omnipotent, which means all-powerful. Genesis 1 talks about God as the creator, his power over all of creation. The reality stone. In Acts 17:28, it says, "In him we live and move and have our being." So even though God is separate from creation, in him we live and move and have our being. He's everywhere. Which takes me to the next one, the space stone that allows people to teleport through space. God is omnipresent. Psalm 139 says, "Where can I run from your presence, God? If I go to the mountain, you're there. If I go into the depths of the sea, you are there." So God is at all places, at all times. He's omnipresent. The next one is the time stone. In Revelation 1, Jesus said, "I am the Alpha and the Omega." And in Revelation 22, he reiterates that. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. So God transcends time. He's outside of time. It's a crazy concept. It'll keep your mind thinking throughout your whole life. The next one is the Mind Stone. In Genesis 1, you see God speaking out reality. The mathematician and philosopher and scientist William Dembski says that information is the fundamental thing underlying reality. Wow. That's wild. But really, every phenomenon in this material world can be expressed as information or described using information. So information is interesting because it's a real thing. It's part of reality, but it's non-physical. Information can be impressed onto physical things, whether it's DNA or RNA or epigenetic material written into a living organism, whether it's a poem written on a piece of paper, whether it's this podcast being, converted by my audio converter and put onto my solid-state hard drive on my MacBook, and then put onto a cloud and broadcast out to your mobile devices. That information, it lives on all those different, or it lives as an impression, all those different types of what am I trying to say? It's on all your physical devices, right? But the information is also something separate from the physical impression. The information is non-material. So information undergirds all of reality. It's wild. So that mind stone, that mind of God that spoke and created reality. It's powerful. Okay, and the final one is the soul stone. In Luke 20:38, Jesus described God as being the God of all, right? What he was saying is that he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he said, because everybody lives to him. To him all live. In other words, those guys that are dead, God is still their God currently because they're still alive. They may not be in this physical world that we inhabit, but they are still living souls, and they are alive to God, and God is still their God. So, the soul gem that could potentially resurrect dead characters, right? If you don't cry too much if your favorite character dies in this movie, because if the good guys get the soul stone, they'll just raise them back to life. But that's how God is. God is all-powerful. He is over all reality. He is omnipresent. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He transcends time. He is the mind that birthed reality. And he is the God of all souls, living and dead. So, pretty cool. So, hey, I hope you enjoy watching Avengers Infinity War this weekend or whenever you're able to get out and see it. I've got my tickets to see it Friday, like I said, so looking forward to that. And while you watch it, think about the attributes of God and keep yourself in wonder and in awe of him. Hey, thanks for listening. If you want to connect, you can reach out to me on Facebook, My Savior's Anthem Music and Podcasting. You can go to my website, www.mysaviorsanthem.com. You can email me, mysaviorsanthem@gmail.com. you can send a carrier pigeon to Proctor, Minnesota with a note, and hopefully I'll find it. I'm not going to give you my address. Don't want any creepers. All right, thanks so much for listening. Look forward to a bunch of new ideas in May. Lots of new content, some ideas for some segments, lots of good stuff. So, love you. Thanks for listening.